Hey, welcome everybody. It's time to get ready for week 3. I hope you tuned in Sunday morning.
What's up, guys?
To get your answers by guess. We had quite a few hits, quite a few misses, but a ton of hits. I just want to start off this week just running through them. Talked about the Baltimore defense, that they would have the same type of game they had the week before. I didn't know every single Brown would get hurt, but I said they wouldn't shut down the Browns like they did the Bengals, so the Browns got 10 points. Duke Johnson did well. Baltimore ran a ton, like I said. I said Buck Allen would have a huge week.
You did call Buck Allen.
He did. I said Brady would be much greater than Breeze. I said the Saints defense was terrible. I said Rex Burkhead. Dude never gets hurt. I mean, this dude plays one quarter every single game. It seems like he kills it.
Yeah.
And then he never plays the rest of the game.
And like you said, man, running back by committee.
Yeah. Brandon Coleman got going. You saw him. Hopefully he doesn't go away when Snead gets back. BTW. Snead's on the waiver wire. You might want to grab him this week before next week because he comes back after this week from his suspension. And if somebody's sleeping on him, he's probably going to be somebody that you're going to want to pick up. I'm going to guess that the Saints have been a little helter-skelter in their offense because Snead hasn't been there. So that's a good call for this week. I said Dalvin Cook wouldn't be as good without Sammy Boy. That was true. Pitt was better. They controlled the clock. I said Jaguars Rogers would have a pretty good game. He did have a pretty good game.
You sure did.
You
called about Mike Evans too, man. I mean, Mike
Yeah.
Evans just saw the ball a ton.
Yeah. I did say Charles Sims would do better. I'll talk about him with my misses real quick. I was wrong there. Evans, like you said, Kendall Wright, I said he should have 15 catches. He only had 7. Jordan Howard, I told you, I don't know what's going on with him. If he is hurt or if he's just losing the job. 9 carries. Tariq Cohen had 8 catches, so I nailed that. Cutler did well. The Chargers secondary was hurting. Parker did well. Stills did okay. Denver killed Dallas. I told everybody to bet Denver. Why didn't I bet Denver?
One thing to just chime in real quick there, he said that Zeke was going to be stopped as far as a run game. 8 yards.
Yeah.
I had Zeke in one of my dynasty leagues. He did nothing for me.
Yeah, I said Simeon's more than capable. I said they slowed down Zeke and Dak couldn't do it himself, and that's exactly what happens. Told you the Swiss cheese Green Bay defense, they suck. Freeman had a good game. Excuse me, Jordan Reed and Washington, they suck. I don't know what's going on with them. Told you Jordan Reed can't stay healthy. He's hurt again. Stafford, told you he'd do good. Eli McAdoo, told you they suck. Told you old OBJ would play. Where I messed up, I said AP was getting like 10%. He actually split carries with Ingram.
Yep.
Gillislee did have a pretty good game. He had 18 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Charles Sims sucked. I have no idea where Chris Godwin is. Humphreys had 2 catches again. Landry, I was off on Landry. I thought they didn't like Landry, but
he was a target machine, it seemed like. Just check down. You're right, man. I mean, Devontae Parker, though, definitely had some targets, too, though. Wasn't that?
Yeah.
I know you were really high on him, really looking for him to do well, but, I mean, they definitely still like Landry.
I think I even just said it in this video. I said it last week. I keep calling the Chargers San Diego. It's going to take a while. I think I even have called the Rams St. Louis in the past year. Ajayi killed it. I said to temper expectations. Get the F out of here. Melvin Gordon, 9 carries.
I didn't get
Phillip
that, man.
Rivers, 39 attempts. Are you kidding me? Keenan Allen was much better than Tyrell Williams. Dez did do well. There's still no Switzer. Taylor Gabriel didn't do anything, but they didn't really need to because the Green Bay defense sucks. Cobb did well, but Jordy got hurt, so I'll attribute it to that. Kerwin Williams sucks. I dumped him immediately Monday morning.
So did I.
And Eli's eyes were not open once again.
You definitely called that one. I don't know, man. G-Men offense is just not there, even with OBJ on the field. I mean, that offensive line, that's what I'm attributing it to. That he has no time.
Yeah.
They have no run game.
Yeah.
There's no play action.
Right.
And they know they're throwing the ball. One thing I did like to see, though, Ingram, he had a good game, man.
Yeah, he's hurt now, though. He's in concussion protocol.
Yeah, which hopefully that doesn't affect him for this week, but I don't know.
And they said McAdoo is going to give up play calling. maybe this week. They're saying Orleans Darkwa might be stealing the ball
All
from
right.
Perkins quite
Sleeper
a bit.
guys.
So we'll see.
All right.
Eli's got to open his eyes though.
Thanks for the recap, man. Again, a lot of good things that he did mention. A little off on a couple, but you know what? I would say the positive definitely outweighed the negatives here.
Yeah, much different than week 1. Jeez.
All right, as I mentioned in my post that I put out there yesterday, we are going to talk about the Thursday game. I actually said that before looking at what the Thursday game was. Sorry, we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Rams and San Francisco 49ers. I mean, don't get me wrong. They do play each other very well. I don't know what it is. Yeah. These games are always very interesting. But I know that I did have a question on this one. As far as the Rams, do we see Gurley doing another repeat of what he's done the first 2 weeks? What kind of wide receivers am I starting? Watkins didn't do anything for me. Where are we going there? And as far as 49ers, is Carlos Hyde the only person to play? But if they get down big, is he a starter?
It's funny because Thursday game, these two teams, you think it's going to be like a 6-3 game. I got a feeling it's going to be high scoring.
Okay.
I got a feeling, I've been all over Goff, so I think that, he'll get Sammy Watkins involved. Cooper Kupp, he'll be involved. I got to see more out of Robert Woods before I even put him on a roster. I do think Gurley does well because I'm not convinced 49ers defense is that great. They played a couple teams that seemed like they were stuck in mud so far, so they've been in a couple games here and there so far. And the Niners, everybody probably benched Hyde last week going against the Seahawks, but he had a heck of a game.
He did. I saw a couple of huge runs that he had, man.
So I actually think there's going to be quite a bit of points here. I wouldn't be surprised if this game gets into the 20s. 24-21, maybe even a 27-24, which is a lot different than what Thursday games are. I haven't looked at like an over-under, but I think it's like around 39-40.
Yeah.
And I would
Thursday
take
games are usually tough, especially on a short week.
over and I'm playing against him, so I hate it. But I think Garcon is going to have a big week this week.
Okay.
So if you got him and you're stuck on a wide receiver 3, or a couple guys, maybe even if you only play 2 wide receivers, I'd play Garcon this week just because I got a bad feeling he does well.
All right. Anybody from the Rams?
Just the normal guys. I mean, the 4 guys I mentioned, you're going to put them in your lineup. Kupp, Watkins, Goff if you absolutely need to, and Gurley.
All right.
I wouldn't trust Woods yet.
I can see that.
I'd like to see one of the Rams tight ends emerge, Everett or Higbee. I think that they'd have good weapons. If they round one of those guys out, they kind of split time. So it's
I mean, I did see Higbee pick up in a lot of leagues this week. So I mean, barely for the touchdown. So all right, let's go to the game over the pond. Ravens Jaguars. I don't know about you. I love 9:30 football on Sunday.
It's the best.
It is the best. It's literally football all day long.
Yeah.
You already talked about the Ravens. Let's throw some names here. I know Buck Allen you mentioned having a good game. Do you see him having again another good game? Jaguars kind of went back to the old Jaguars ways, it looked like a little bit last week. Let's talk a little bit about them too.
I think this is the best defense that the Ravens have played so far this year. So I do think that you got to know that Buck Allen last week might not be the same this week. There's probably not going to be a Terrence West. He's very iffy right now, and they even said Alex Collins might get more work going forward. So
something to pay attention to, guys.
I think Buck Allen will have a good game. I think that, the Ravens are going to do the same exact thing. They're going to run as much as they can, check downs. Mike Wallace spoke up. He said he needs to get the rock more.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll try a few deep balls on him. But
one thing I did like to see was Macklin actually coming back last week. Did get hurt, was out for a little bit, and then came back and caught the touchdown.
Yeah, I like that as well. Jacksonville's got a great secondary. Jacksonville wants to play the same exact game that the Ravens want to play right now. Keep the ball out of Bortles' hands, run it as much as they can. You got to worry how that's going to take a toll on Fournette going forward. Yeah. So keep your eyes on Ivory on the waiver wire because Yeldon is worthless. And then their wide receivers are pretty shot. I mean, Hearns, Lee had a heck of a game last week. Marquise Lee did. But outside of those two, I mean, they just signed Jalen Strong.
Yeah, actually, I was going to mention that to you. Does that have any value, you think? Or
I don't think it does. Not yet.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I mean, Jalen Strong was a big name in Houston for a little while. And then
he had that one game where he had like 2 touchdowns and a half. One was a Hail Mary, I think. to end the half, and he was scooped up in leagues immediately.
That's good. Cool.
I think that game, although I love the 9:30 games, it's going to be great. I think that'll be the snoozer. I think Thursday will be more exciting than that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, the 1 p.m. games, I mean, it seems like this week's a little off for me. I don't know. I just don't see the greatest matchups. But one matchup that I know I have my eye on is the Saints-Panthers. Saints, obviously, getting beat up last week by New England. I mean, they did have some offensive abilities that look like. Their defense, like you said, is no bueno.
Yeah.
Cam being, a little hurt, still being rusty. Olsen going out, which was a huge hit for me. I know probably a couple people as well out there. Let's talk about, let's actually start with the Panthers. Does Cam start bringing it up? Who do we see an uptick for since Olsen's out? More McCaffrey, more Stewart maybe?
Yeah, this one's a weird one. It's got a high over-under, I believe. I actually think that not too many points will be scored. I did bench the Panthers defense, just because they're going against the Saints, but they might actually do pretty well. I already said the Saints, it seems like they're like stuck in mud, faltering, without Snead there. Will they get it going? Maybe. They gave Peterson more touches last week. Cam Newton's looked terrible. Yeah, now he's lost his number one weapon. Calvin Benjamin's a little banged up. He didn't even practice today. McCaffrey, they're giving him a lot of burn, but they're not really putting him in the right places.
I agree with that.
Jay Stu, who knows when he's going to fall apart. So you're right. This is a weird week. It's a weird game. I'm hoping, again, as I always will, for Michael Thomas to pull through. And I'm just rooting for Brandon Coleman just because I've been a fan of his since he played at Rutgers. But Greg Olsen being out, I mean, what they got? Ed Dixon, right?
Yep.
He's somebody who I feel like could have a heck of a week this week.
Definitely picked up on a lot of waivers.
Yeah.
I saw that this week. Obviously with Olsen going out. I think personally there were some other better pickups like a Bubba Watson or somebody like that. But yeah, I mean, definitely interesting, man. So I'm just going to kind of talk about Breeze a little bit. So obviously you're saying this is a low-scoring game. Is it worth starting Breeze? Especially if you have a decent, quarterback too.
It's tough because these two teams know each other so well.
They do.
And I mean, they usually play high-scoring games, so I would roll the dice with Breeze. I mean, my initial feeling was this game will have a ton of points. And then I started to think about it. Well, Cam hasn't looked that good, but they are playing the worst defense in the league. The Saints haven't looked that good, but they know how to play against the Panthers. And the Panthers rarely ever shut down the Saints. So this game could be in the 30s. It could be 17-14.
It could be a 9-3 like the way the Panthers-Bills game was last week.
I would start Breeze. I would put him in the top 10 for the week. I don't really do rankings and stuff like that, but I mean, it depends on who else is my other one. That's, again, everybody, that's why if you have Breeze and you're wondering if you should play him, that's why you got to type us a question. Send us something. You got to say, do I play Breeze? I have Carson Wentz also. Like we had, I believe it was maybe your cousin. Or
my cousin Nick, actually asking about.
Do I start
Derrick Henry?
Henry.
It says that's
I
a
gotta
good
know
one.
who else you have. So
but I mean, even that situation though, right now with DeMarco Murray, he hasn't been playing great, and Derrick Henry has been crushing it right now.
And they're going against Seattle, so then it's like, it's another. I feel like that's like the theme for the week. Like all these games could kind of be really crazy, or they could just be really boring.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. That's what I was mentioning. Yeah, I mean, week 3 seems like the schedule is a little off for, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another game. Falcons-Lions. I think this is an intriguing game. Both 2-0. We saw what the Falcons did to Green Bay last week. We see what the Lions did on Monday to the G-Men. Let's talk about the running game for Atlanta, and let's talk about the wideouts for the Lions.
Okay, Stafford plays better at home.
Okay.
Matt Ryan plays worse on the road, but Matt Ryan is still in a dome. So I feel like you wanted to hear about the Falcons running backs. I guess you reminded me Tevin Coleman. had a pretty good game.
He
I
did.
feel like
he did score a touchdown last week.
I mean, Freeman killed it.
He did.
I mean, his carries, his yards, his production were ridiculous. So,
Okay.
I mean, he's still going to get 60+% of that, probably closer to 70. But if you got them both, or either one, and you're in any type of pinch in a 14-team league or maybe even a 12, roll with them. Because you're going against the Lions. Their defenses look pretty good. But again, look who they've played. They played Arizona, and they played the Giants. So they haven't really played a good offense. So
But
I
they
think
played some pretty good defenses, man.
yeah. So I think I'd roll with either one of those. I'd roll with my Falcons receivers if I had to. I'd even give another shot at Gabriel if I had to play a third receiver and I'm in a pinch this week. Sanu killed it last week. I don't know if that goes on every week. I mean, if you just look at the way he was used last year, he was like, he'd have a good game, and then all of a sudden it would be like Justin Hardy would be catching passes, and then Gabriel came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they had the other guy. Who's the other guy last year? I can't think of his name right now. If it comes back, Aldrick Robinson. He'd get catches every once in a while. So I'd play them, and I'd play my Lions. My Lions running backs. I mean, I feel like Amir Abdul looked pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that,
pretty good last week, and they love Theo Riddick.
Yeah, I have Theo Riddick in a couple leagues, man, and I don't know if he's just like, he's a Bilal Powell. He's that kind of guy that's just going to do a little bit of everything. I mean, unfortunately, Bilal Powell hasn't looked like Bilal Powell, but that same type of concept of that third down back that you need that's going to be catching it, or they can even run the ball. I mean,
I think this game sets up really well for Golden Tate. I'll go out on my first limb of the week and say Golden Tate has a huge week. Why? Because Golden Tate's one of those players that the Lions sort of have to be playing catch up and really be in some sort of shootout for him to really get going. And he had a really good week one with playing the catch up and everything else. And then last week they didn't need him. They got out to a big lead and they just sort of salted it away and relied on Eli to just not do anything. So I think this is going to be a big week for Golden Tate. Marvin Jones, can you just catch a ball that's thrown to you? I mean, sometimes he makes the most ridiculous catches, and then sometimes he just drops the easiest ones. Yeah. And I think this will be a Kenny Galladay another week. I think this is how his season's going to go.
Okay.
Just like this. I think he'll get a touchdown this week and probably like 60 yards, but probably only like 2 catches.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Galladay as a flex player for me for this week. So
yeah, I agree with that. He might get you 12, 13 points this week.
All right, let's
play those guys. That game should be
a high scoring, fun game. I hope that's the one that's televised the most. To be honest with you, Giants Eagles. I really like what I'm seeing out of Wentz, man. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey technically should have had 2 touchdowns last week. He was a target machine last week. Aguilar did end up getting a touchdown, even though it was pretty much his lone target that he had. Let's talk about. I'm going to ask you my own personal thing. Right now, I'm in the bind as far as Winston and Carson Wentz. Who am I starting?
Remind me, who's Tampa Bay playing?
They're playing the Vikings.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And you just saw what happened with the Vikings. I mean, I know they had no offense because of Sam Bradford, but Pittsburgh put up that home. Wentz at home?
I mean, they're at home. They're playing the hated Giants. They're going to be fired up for this one.
I think so too, man.
I mean, yes, the Giants are going to be fired up, but they're also
Division games are a lot different, man.
They're also, but I tried to pry Wentz away from as many owners as I could before the season started because I had a feeling he would do really well.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed as well. I'd like more consistency out of Aguilar. I do like that Jeffrey is more and more involved, so I played Jeffrey this week without a care. I love that my boy Zach Ertz is killing it every week. That's got to continue. I'm waiting for the running game to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even try and run the ball.
Yeah, I mean, Wentz is really just running around the pocket or running outside of the pocket, just trying to chuck the ball. That's what it seems like to me, too. Smallwood looked like he was doing a little bit here and there before. What's his name? But Derek Blunt has just been non-existent.
Yeah, I would think that Smallwood, I'm just waiting for him to actually get a bunch of carries to really get going and really show what he's worth. Yeah. Giants, we'll see if they give the playbook away from McAdoo and let somebody else try it. Is that going to help them? Maybe. I hope not, because I picked up the Philly defense. I would advise other people to as well.
Yeah.
If it kicks you in the butt this week, I'm sorry, but it's worth a shot. If your main defense is not playing somebody good, that would be a good matchup. I told you I had the Panthers, and I picked up the Eagles instead, because I don't want to go against Breeze and the Saints. Even though I think it'll be low scoring, I don't want to risk it. I'd rather go against the Giants and hope that Eli sleeps for another week.
Eyes closed, guys. Eyes closed.
I like Philly to win this game. I like Philly to make a big statement. They were actually the team that I thought would win the NFC East this year. I thought that they would be the first place. I thought Giants would be second. I actually had Dallas in third place. So I think Philly makes a statement at home. I think they're going to be pumped for this one. So play your Eagles.
Oh, yeah. I know I'm playing Jeffries.
And the other thing about their defense, if Sproles returns a punt or a kickoff,
you're getting
one of
points
those
there
is coming.
too. Yeah, you're
I
right.
think the first punt/kickoff return happened Monday night of the year. It took 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
It was the
that
first
sounds
one.
right, yeah.
It was the first one of the year.
I hadn't seen any others as far as
it was the
replays and
first
stuff
one,
like that.
so maybe that opened the floodgates. Maybe we'll see more of those this week. Get those defensive points going up.
All right. Next game I want to talk about, let's do a little Chiefs-Chargers. Kareem Hunt. This guy is true story money. He's amazing. Does he keep that up? Does Alex Smith have another good game? Tyreek Hill. There's just so many names on here that you're just like, I'm surprised, to be honest, how good the Chiefs are playing.
Right. Like I mentioned last week, the Los Angeles Chargers.
I'm sorry, Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have to get used to that.
The Los Angeles Chargers, their defense is banged up, so it's going to set up really well for your Chiefs again. The funny thing about Hunt is, and I own him in 2 leagues, in my most important league as well, he kind of starts off really slow. He starts off really slow, and then he has one big play, and then after that, he just cooks them. And that's how it was. That very first game, he didn't do anything the first half. He had the fumble on the first play, didn't do anything, and I'm like, oh my God, this is how the season's going to go. It was a Thursday night game. In the second half, he just killed it. And then last week, he didn't really do anything for 2 quarters, then he busted that one 53-yarder, scored a touchdown, and after that, next thing you know, he's scoring again. So I love Hunt. I love that he keeps churning. I love Andy Reid. I love that he keeps just giving him the ball and not really subbing him out for West too much. That's what you should do. You got a rookie running back, ride the heck out of him.
I agree.
And I think he'll have a good game. Kelsey will have a good game. They'll get a couple of the other guys involved, but you don't want to put them in your lineup. Alex Smith should have a pretty good game. The Chargers' defense is banged up. We said last week, Phillip Rivers threw the ball, 39 times, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to get Gordon going against that defensive front this week. So
I agree, and actually that's what my next question was. Melvin Gordon. Obviously, I still think he's a start, but is he starting in a flex position? Do you don't get me wrong, he still had a pretty decent game, but it's not the Melvin Gordon game that I was thinking.
Yeah, well, you got to play him just because he is their bell cow. He's a stud. You draft him in the first round, and if they get near the goal line, they're giving the ball to him. And if they're not, they'll give it to him on the first down. He'll get stuffed, and the second down they'll try and throw it to Henry or Gates. But you can't sit Melvin Gordon.
I understand that part of it. But again, flex appeal, I was looking for more from my perspective.
Yeah, I keep waiting for Keenan Allen to get hurt. Maybe this is the week. But until he does, keep putting him out there because he keeps getting 9-10 catches a game. Tyrell Williams. He's got to start getting more too. I think he had 4 targets one game, maybe 7 the next. He's going to start getting 10, 11 targets a game. This might be the game. This could be another one too, where points abound.
Yeah, especially if Phillip Rivers is throwing the ball 40 times a game.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Again, this week, like I said, the matchups are still a little weird. Let's just talk about other players that you're thinking about. Any sleepers? Anybody that should be looking at as far as for waiver pickups, just because of underperforming players and stuff like that.
I mentioned before Orleans Darkwa.
Okay.
Giants say they're going to start getting him involved more than Paul Perkins, maybe. Paul Perkins owners, you got him in the fifth, 6th round. I had high hopes for him. I wanted him. He's done absolutely nothing. Their line does suck, but I mean, he hasn't really done much. Darkwa's got a third of the carries and 3 times more yards, so you figure that out. It's not an easy call to make.
Yeah.
Obviously, this guy is now the starter. He's earned it.
Yeah.
I said before Wendell Smallwood. I mean, I think that if there's a game to get him going against the Giants. Why not? You're at home. You're going to be throwing it all over the place, but they've got a heck of a secondary, so this is a time to start, running the ball a little bit. And Smallwood, I think, is your best option. Sure, you get to the goal line, you give it to Blunt. That's what he does. But other than that, I think Dion Lewis. This is a Dion Lewis week for the Patriots people out there.
Running back by company.
Gillislee will probably get a touchdown, but this is your Dion Lewis week. You heard it here. This is the week Dion Lewis has an excellent game this week.
So you're saying no Burkhead then? We're going
no
Lewis.
Burkhead. This is Dion Lewis's week.
I mean, James White still did a little bit here and there because he definitely
he's their passing back.
So
they'll put him where Burkhead was last week, and they'll put Dion Lewis where James White was, and Lewis will have a good game. I mean, he did all right at the end of the game last week, and this is going to be his week. Gillislee, Vulture, he'll get a touchdown. He'll probably still do all right. I'm not sold on him. I don't like him. Who else was I going to mention? I was going to mention somebody else, and I forgot. Tariq Cohen, you got to keep playing him because he's getting the same amount of carries as Howard.
Yeah, I'm just throwing something real quick.
10 catches a game.
I mean, Jordy Nelson, the 50-50 for this week. Anybody over there that we should be looking at?
Geronimo Allison, man.
There it is.
If you are in a super pinch, and the guys on your bench are like Tyler Boyd, who I think could have a good game this week, actually, Tyler Boyd, because they are playing the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Packers defense sucks. AJ Green wants the ball, so hopefully he has 10 catches for 200.
Yep.
I'm a Packers fan, but I got AJ Green on my fantasy team. Sometimes you gotta win some to lose some.
I definitely understand that.
Lose some to win some. But Tyler Boyd, I feel like maybe they'll actually play him this week and not be so mysterious, and he'll do okay. But Geronimo Allison, if Jordy doesn't play, I would probably rather put Geronimo in my lineup than risk on somebody like a Tyler Boyd or a Robert Woods, who I mentioned before. I'd actually probably play, if Jordy doesn't play, I'd play Geronimo Allison over like an Aguilar. I'd play him over a Dotson at this point. I don't know what's going on with Crowder. Although, here's another one. I think the Redskins wake up this week. I think this is a week to play your Redskins. And why do I think that? Because Jordan Reed's probably not going to play. So Kirk Cousins and Robert Kelly might not play. So Kirk Cousins is going to have a lot of checkdowns, a lot of quick passes. You're going to see a lot of Crowder. If Pryor can catch the ball, he's dropped quite a few touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
But I think this is a week to play Cousins if you've been waiting or if he's been killing you. If you got no better option, I'd play Cousins this week. I think Washington's players are going to have a good week.
All right, guys. Answers by guess.
Yeah.
All right, let's just keep them coming. Any questions, anything? Remember, comment, email, PM, anything. Get in contact with us. We want to hear from you. We'll shoot out another update pretty soon, definitely leading into the Sunday games.
Yeah. Private messages do well, but if you saw last week, we had quite a few people give us questions under the comments of the video. That's a great idea. You can do it on YouTube, you can do it on Facebook, or you can shoot us an email.
All right, guys. Answers by guess.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Peace.